are live. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Florida Live. Tonight's episode, we are kind of at the beginning of hurricane season, but if you're new to Florida and you've never been through one, or if you have plans of moving to Florida and you're like, holy crap, what am I going to do during a hurricane? That's exactly what this episode's for. And before we really get into this, if this is your first time here, my name's Larkin. I'm a real estate agent here in Cocoa Beach. Besides doing regular videos like this one, I also help people buy and sell real estate. So if you have plans of making a move here in the near future, I'm here to help. And if you're not considering the Brevard County area, but thinking more South Florida, well, then my two guests here tonight will certainly be able to help you. We have Hector from Miami and Michele from Boca Raton. So thank you guys. Hello. Everybody doing well tonight?
All good. How about you, Michele? How are you?
It's great. I just, took my second shower of the day because it's so freaking hot. Welcome to Florida, but that's it, right?
Yeah, and this is just a warm up right now for August and actually September. I really think September's hotter, or at least mentally it seems hotter because all our friends up north are having the leaves change and their temperatures dropping, and we're still in the 90s.
I know.
Crazy.
That's why we need to travel up there.
100%. Yeah, right. I would like to do a trip this fall and see the leaves change. It's been a while.
Yeah.
All right, so hurricane season. Fortunately, the tropics are nice and quiet right now, but I know it's always good to have a plan and be prepared for when it does come through. And my family and I, we've been here since the 80s, so we've been through a couple storms. And for the last 6 or 7 years, my wife and I have been living in Cocoa Beach, so we're certainly familiar with what needs to be done to get hurricanes prep. What about y'all? Michele, Hector?
Yeah.
Are you in an evacuation area? Are you not in an evacuation area? Let us know what's going on.
Hector?
I'm not in an evacuation area. My mom is the one that does get evacuated, and I bring her over here. I shutter my house. Takes me about 15 minutes. And then, of course, I have a list that I look at. I have it right in front of me now. You want to make sure you have like non-perishables and things for the family that are, perishables or things that are dry goods. And also, and to me, which is very important, and I know it's important to Michele as well, the dogs, you got to make sure you have things for your pets. People tend to forget that sometimes, but for me, that's very important to make sure that they're as comfortable as we are trying to get through this storm or hurricane.
Absolutely. Takes us a little longer to do our shutters. And so if you're new to the area or thinking of moving here, one of the things that many of us do is we shutter our house, whether we have the panel shutters or the accordion shutters. A lot of people are getting hurricane impact glass to protect our homes. It does work. I'll tell you what doesn't work is masking tape done in an X. I was just thinking Hurricane Andrew was the first real serious hurricane that I was aware of. Even though I came here in the late 70s, it was pretty quiet. Hurricane Andrew was the 6th most intense hurricane to ever hit the United States. And before Katrina, which was that horrific hurricane that devastated New Orleans, it was the costliest hurricane, causing $27.3 billion in damage. Now, Hector's down in Miami, and we were very fortunate here in Palm Beach County, and for the most part in Broward. It hit Homestead and the southern part of Dade County. It devastated it. Yeah. Right, Hector?
It did. It destroyed. We were north. So my grandmother lived in Hialeah. We went and stayed with her. And then we were north, just north of Hialeah. But anybody that was south of Hialeah, so Doral, city of Miami, Westchester, which is where I live now, any of the towns here and south, all the way down to the Upper Keys.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw homes leveled. I saw homes missing in elevation. I had to delay my military entry for a year because they're like, you guys need to stay home. I mean, this is a devastating hurricane. You guys are not allowed to leave. We're going to just hold everything back and do a delayed entry because that's how bad it was. I mean, it took us, we got power back in a few weeks. My cousin had a total loss and he didn't have power. I mean, he basically had to rebuild the house and then he had to get power after that.
So I bring this up because fortunately we've been very, very lucky with our weather issues. Definitely. Right?
Yes.
Yet as realtors, we're talking about weather issues frequently because it affects transactions, it affects insurance and things like that. And that's one of the reasons we wanted to jump on tonight and talk about this. The good news is we can really prepare for hurricanes, unlike tornadoes or say a fire. We have plenty of notice. It is a little hit or miss, I will say that, but we're always somewhat prepared this time of the year with essentials and prescriptions and things like that. So we thought we would talk a little bit about how you can prep. And if you have any questions for us, you know, we've been through some hurricanes, and the most recent one that was so devastating to the Florida Keys was Hurricane Irma. And that was bad. And it hit us too, but it was bad down there.
And Irma was what, back 2018 or was it?
Yeah, I think 2018,
2019,
yeah.
Somewhere in that time frame.
Yep.
Because Matthew was the previous year that kind of did damage throughout the state. And then I know Irma was like the following year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Florida Keys and also Everglades City got destroyed.
Yes.
Marco Island, south part of Naples, and some areas of Bonita Beach. I was over there because, as you know, I have my public adjusting license and I do real estate. And I basically spent 3 months there living in an Airbnb trying to help people out. And some days I had power and some days I didn't have power.
Right.
That's funny.
So that was just, you know, it is what it is, but they got leveled. I mean, it was pretty bad.
It was flattened.
Really quick, I'd like to say hello to Shirley. Thank you for tuning in for West Virginia. We appreciate the comment saying where you're at and for tuning in as well. So with the hurricane and some of the preparations, since we are realtors, you had mentioned that. I know, especially this time of year, we get questions from buyers that are moving into the area. One of the first things they ask me is, do we have to evacuate? What's this mandatory evacuation? Is there areas we can move in Brevard County where we won't have to evacuate if we choose not to? And I can certainly go over what's happening in Brevard County, but either in Boca Raton or Miami, do you have areas that are definitely mandatory evacuation when they drop the notice? Or is there some areas that, you know, it doesn't matter one way or another?
Yeah, I mean, so anybody east of 95, they're usually evacuated. They need to move more inland. It's a mandatory evacuation, but I know people don't always listen to the authorities.
Right.
Because we're kind of rebels here, right? I mean, Miami is the Wild Wild West for a long, long time. We are the Wild Wild West. So a lot of people say, you know, I'm going to evacuate just to be safe. I evacuate my mom, bring her here. My sister, sometimes she evacuates because she's in a lower lying area or a flood, as we call it here. But yeah, I mean, I always tell people, listen, if you can stay on this side of I-95, you're okay, because not only that you don't have to evacuate, but if you get insurance, you only need one policy versus 3 insurance policies.
Good point.
So how about you, Michele?
Yeah, same kind of thing, you know, and people will stay in their homes. It does become a little bit of a personal choice, I think, for some people. And I think this is the one thing that happens is people get very comfortable year after year when we don't have a hurricane that's of some sort of strength.
Yeah, it does make a difference.
Right? So people get super comfy with that. And, you know, the thing is, you can leave and you can go north for the most part.
Yeah, I know here in Brevard County, kind of like y'all, it really depends upon where you're at. And so basically, like, this is Brevard County here. You got Cocoa Beach all the way south, the Barrier Islands here definitely have to go. Up here in the northern section, Merritt Island, everything has to go. And we don't use 95 here. It's US 1. So if you're on the mainland and you're east of US 1, there's a little strip of land there that's riverfront.
Right.
That it goes to the mandatory evacuation. But mandatory evacuation, they want you to leave, but they can't force you to leave. So I think y'all had mentioned that we all have neighbors or friends that just kind of they want to write it out for whatever reason. They don't want to evacuate. Maybe they have pets. And the caveat here is if the winds are up and the storm, if we're in the middle of the storm and there's some type of emergency, they're not going to come out if you call 911, if you're able to dial 911. So you're taking risks in your own hand, which, you just got to do your comfort level to see if it's all right with you or not.
Oh, for sure. Now, the good news is there's a lot of great resources before, during, and after the storm. There's a lot of people that join the CERT teams in their communities.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of what the actual acronym means, but
I don't know either.
That's where you help your neighbors and especially seniors that may need assistance. And of course, making sure that people are safe. And that's where the one thing that I will say that you see down here is when we've had significant weather issues, neighbors help neighbors. They help each other put up their storm shutters. They help each other put things in their garages. They take stuff from the patio. By the way, one of my best performing Instagram stories when that was a thing was when I took the Wahoo off the wall of our patio from a long time ago that my husband caught a long time ago. I got thousands of views because I said, it's serious when the Wahoo comes into the house. And the thing's like 6 feet long. So, you have to, this is a time of year where you need to, if you're already living here and haven't experienced a hurricane, go through that backyard and look for projectiles, literally, like what's going to fly into your neighbor's yard or hit somebody or hit something. Don't have your lawn service come, and put all your stuff out in the curb. People do that. So I know it sounds silly to say that. If you need shutters, who has them? Is Habitat. You can go to your
really.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
she's right.
I know. And then if you don't have shutters, a lot of people are using plywood, which definitely use plywood as opposed to taping your windows. Oh my goodness, it's like whoever thought of that. But this here, like my house, I've got some older windows, but we have plywood cut to every window, and we use these clips to hold them in place. And I wish I would have done a video of how easy it is to put in it. The toughest thing is cutting the wood to fit the frame. But you put these clips on there and it pushes right in, and they're solid. They're not going anywhere. These I just pulled at the Amazon, but we got them at Ace Hardware before the last storm. But if you prepare and do this ahead of time, if you either don't have the money to put impact windows on or don't have the funds to do the hurricane shutters, plywood, well, last year's plywood prices, not recent plywood prices, make it an affordable option. And those clips are really easy to take care of.
And may I add this? If you do nothing else, get your TAPCONs early. TAPCONs.
Yeah. Everything. Just prepare
now.
You
know what that is? Google it.
Yep. And I'd like to comment a little bit more on something you said, Michele, that I know a lot of people don't think about are the projectiles. I know, we have stuff throughout our yard. We got our yard furniture. We got potted plants everywhere. And that's part of the prep work as we're getting ready for the storm. As it gets closer, if it's like a week out, we start rearranging everything. We have a shed out back that we pretty much empty, like the bikes and kayaks and things like that, and put them inside the house. And then we store all of our yard furniture in the shed, or we strategically place it on the front porch, which is covered and kind of protected. But otherwise, they're going to go flying everywhere.
There's nothing like being enclosed in your home for 3 days with all your crap from outside.
And if you're a real estate agent and you have listings,
oh my God,
go and remove your darn sign, because that metal sign that's flapping in the wind.
Take the post off and stick it in the garage.
I think the post will be safe, but I always go and I cut all my signs if a storm's approaching. So if you're a realtor watching, clip it and put your sign up after the storm.
Yeah.
Yep. I've done it before. I've had to clip it. One of the things, going back to the pets, if you're going to evacuate or if you're in an evacuation area, you got to call wherever you're going to shelter, right? If you're going to use one of these county shelters or a city shelter, or the town of Miami Lakes has a shelter as well, you want to make sure that they accept pets, because not every shelter will accept pets. And what type of pets, right? Some of them will allow dogs and cats, some others won't, or they'll allow anything. It just depends, right? So I think that's important, Eric. And another thing is, making sure that the first thing that usually goes away is your power. A battery operated radio is a great thing to have with additional batteries. Make sure you have fuel in every car, have some extra fuel on the side just in case, because that's one of the first things that becomes, there's scarcity of it. There's no gas anywhere. And for some reason, the gas lines, at least down here in Miami, sometimes it's hours, sometimes it's only 1 hour, sometimes it's 15 minutes. It depends on when you catch it. So I remember,
think, one of the things that you can do now, because I think it was after Hurricane Sandy, we got hit out that one time. You can Google a list of gas stations that have the generators, which is good. We also have the port in Fort Lauderdale, Port of Miami. So the good news is there's usually gas. It's just getting it to the stations. And as long as the stations have the generators, you're pretty good to go. And look, and here's the thing that I always say, for your hurricane supplies, stop waiting in line. Just go to some off-site place like your little local 7-Elevens, your no-name 7-Elevens. They always have stuff. Every year, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I might have to pay a little tiny bit more. But you know what? I can get my paper towels if I'm low on them. I can get the batteries. One of my best phone chargers came from right around the corner from the little 7-Eleven place. The other thing is to please don't rely on Amazon to deliver any of your hurricane supplies when there is a named storm. A lot of times they stop running their trucks. And water as you shop, or if you're ordering groceries online now, order an extra case of water every time.
That's exactly what we do. Yeah, we accumulate. Like Susan will be like, hey, when we go on this next shopping trip, we're going to pick up another case of water. And we also try to keep 4 to 6 gallons this time of year of the full gallons in hand also.
Right.
Real quick, Dan Frio. Hey, buddy, I appreciate you tuning in too. Dan is a lender in Chicago that has a great YouTube show that actually starts at 7 p.m. Chicago time, Central time, so 8 p.m. Eastern time. You should probably pop over and watch Dan's show if you want to get caught up on what's happening with rates and finances throughout the country. And also we have Christian who's tuning in too. I appreciate it very much. Christian, let us know where you're tuning in from.
Hey, Dan, thinking of you guys up in Chicago right now.
Christian is out of Miami.
That's right. Yeah, that was devastating what happened 4th of July weekend up there.
Just keeping you guys in our thoughts.
Yeah, it's really sad. Eric, based on what you were saying about the water, you want to make sure you have 1 gallon of water per person per day.
Oh, good point.
That's here on the list.
And if lots of toilet paper.
Yeah, you got to have that too. And then also, as you're just stocking up ahead of time, that's a good thing. But if the storm is approaching, that's why you clean out your tub and you fill your tub up with water too. So you'll use that water to like flush your toilets or maybe cleaning and washing and things along those lines. I know we were talking about if you run out of gas or the electricity going out, something that's also important right before the storm is hit your ATM and pull out cash. Because if there's no power, there's no electricity, the debit cards features at the stores aren't going to work. And cash is king during a hurricane.
Yeah, I mean, and depending on the severity of the hurricane, I always, my clients call me and say, hey, Hector, I just got the policy and, what do I do? What are the things? And I send him from the Florida Association of Realtors, which Marianne was very nice enough to send me the link earlier. And it tells you the essentials, And one of the things I've always learned that you're always going to need money after a storm. So Eric, great point on that.
Yeah.
I always tell people, $500 per person will usually cover you, for the amount of time. I mean, we were out of power here 21 days with Katrina, no power. So yeah, it was nice to have that money. We were able to buy fast food, unfortunately, with cash. So the $500 actually lasted enough for all of us. It was 4 of us. I had $2,000, and it was good to have it on hand. You know, I felt at peace, and it's just a good feeling to make sure, you know, to just have the peace of mind that you're not going to have to worry about food.
Yeah, that's
Certainly.
super, super important. And the other thing is just don't eat all your hurricane snacks the first day.
We already like diving into them the other day. So
Okay, so what is your favorite hurricane snack? Everybody has a favorite hurricane snack.
I don't eat chips like a lot. So it's like we always have bags of potato chips and just that type of carby type food.
Yeah,
So it's nice to have just the potato chips on hand. You know, I'm gluten free, so I got to be selective on what we have. I just can't have regular bread, which is kind of a bummer. But yeah, I eat a lot of potato chips during hurricane season or something sweet. I got a bad sweet tooth.
Okay, Hector?
Yeah, Eric, I have a very, very bad. My sweet tooth is so bad.
You were eating something before the show.
Yeah, that was really hard. Turned out it was like a Twix.
No, it was chocolate biscottis from like Trader Joe's or something. But I'll take like 8 Chips Ahoy cookies, crunch them up, and then put some white milk, some just plain white milk in it. Oh my God, it's so good.
Awesome.
You know, it's great. What about you, Michele? What do you do?
You know, we usually get like the white cheddar cheese popcorn.
Ooh. No, that's good.
It's
like
pretty
smart
good.
popcorn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Like tasty.
It's a
And Andy has a pretty big sweet tooth. The captain has a big sweet tooth, so he always has chocolate chip cookies and ice cream. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to eat that fast because you're out of power. So you know.
Well, we eat them before the power goes out.
Well, and that's the thing too. So if your power does go out, you know, your refrigerators and stuff, you don't want to be opening them up all the time, especially your freezer. But if it does go a day, 2 days without power, fire up the grill because you're having a cookout.
Yep.
You're going to cook whatever's in your freezer, you know, feed your neighbors and everything else.
Some of our best meals.
100%.
Yeah, Eric, I do have a point. I'm glad you mentioned that about fire up the grill. A lot of people, I'm guilty. I mean, if Marianne was here, if you want to grab me there, a lot of people do not check their generators until the storm has passed. And that's not the time to check your generator. You want to check your generator March, April, and then make sure you cycle it once a month, just in case we do get a storm. You have a generator that's working before the storm. Because we went 21 days with a standby generator and we couldn't use it. And I heard about it every day, 21 days.
As you hear your neighbor's generator going and you can see that they're using the air conditioner.
Going across the street, everybody's sharing their generators. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, you can, Eric, can you pull up like a portable generator? And so, look, it doesn't run the AC, by the way. This is for the basics, man. And I have never, like, when those 2 hurricanes came in, Sandy and whatnot, we had a wedding to go to. I was blow drying my hair, hooked up to a generator to go down to Fort Lauderdale, where they had power at that point at the Pier 66. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. But the generators, you're right. Now, the other thing is, too, if you pick up a generator through Marketplace or a garage sale, make sure that they're working. The other thing is, if you have a whole house generator, because a lot of people do, you got to start those babies, guys, and make sure that they're actually working and aren't going to blow up, you know?
And if you are using one of those portable generators and you don't have your electrical panel wired for it to plug in, or even if you do have it wired to plug in, I know some folks will take it and they'll plug it into their dryer and kind of let the dryer outlet, which is not recommended by electricians and other things like that, throw your main breaker if you're doing something like that, because if FP&L is working on a down line and you don't throw the main breaker, you're putting electricity back out there, and that's not good for the linemen that are trying to get power for everybody back.
Yeah, they're going to feel the jolt.
Yeah, they will.
And I had a client that had a standby generator. Excuse me. This is a standby generator on the screen right now. It's a Generac. That's what I have.
Those are nice.
Yeah. Come on.
So Hector, drop your address in the comments.
Yes,
so we'll be
snacks, and he has 4 dogs.
Listen, bring your dogs. Bring them. So one of the things I will say is regarding the generators. So I had this gentleman. This is one of the bigger claims I did with Katrina. Okay. He had city power coming in, and his electrician went ahead and added in the generator. So everything was running fine, except for the day that the power from the county or the city came back into their power wall, their outlet. Both powers, so they were getting double amperage. It exploded and burned the entire house down.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
So that's why it's something you can't mess with. Make sure you hire a professional. People always try to cut corners and save $1 or $2, and it cost him $300,000, and his wife was super upset. And I understand that. You don't want to mess around with power. You want to bring in an expert. Pay somebody to get it done right. I'm in the process of doing that now myself, and we're going to go ahead and put in a standby power, what they call a switch, which automatically detects that the power went out, and it switches on with the generator and the natural gas coming in. And then once the city kicks back in, it automatically switches itself back off. So
can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is what they've been doing. Oops. They've been doing this all around. And the nice thing is FP&L, Florida Power and Light, has been doing the underground power line projects. So if you are driving around neighborhood looking at property and you see these boxes, definitely verify where they're at in the process. We have them in my neighborhood now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's really nice because the overhead power lines, that's what creates the power outages, because the winds just blow everything down. So this is something to look into when you are shopping for a home. And just like I said, know where they are in the process. I've never seen anything like it over a period of a year of them swarming into my neighborhoods and doing these projects. It was something to see.
Well, something they've done here, like Cocoa Beach, we're the barrier island, and you can't really dig to bury the cables. So the last 3 years, they finished it last year. They reinforced all of the power poles. So they went for the wooden power poles along A1A to the big cement poles, and then the height of the lines themselves were raised and reinforced. So they're thicker. The support cables are thicker, and when the wind is picking up just during a regular storm, it just howls going through there. And the new power lines, the upgrades that they have done, is supposed to minimize the risk of downlines.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing, Eric, that people aren't paying attention to, especially Michele, with what they're doing in your neighborhood now with putting in the power boxes. That's what they're called. They're power boxes, and all your lines are underneath.
Yep.
People still don't understand this. You must call 311 before you dig.
Oh, God, yes. Good
because
point.
if you hit a gas line or a power line, you can knock out an entire neighborhood.
Yeah. We had to evacuate our place last summer, I think it was. A guy 2 doors down was getting a fence in, and he had permits and everything else pulled, but the gas company hadn't come out yet, and the first dig in for the post setting nipped it. So we were all evacuated, and they shut down A1A for a couple hours till they were able to shut that down.
Right.
So some good ideas to do now that we don't have a storm to kind of better prepare for when one does come. If you're unfortunate to have one of those devastating things that are happening where your house is damaged or destroyed during a storm, you're going to have to do an insurance claim. Copy your insurance policy and your card so you have the information, make a digital copy of it, throw it on your phone, put it on the cloud. Like most of us have Gmail accounts and they have storage for that type of thing. Talking with an insurance adjuster, what he recommends is going through it and update every year. Just take pictures of your entire house. Take pictures of your TV set, your furniture, in your closets, open up your drawers, just a good detailed digital version of everything that you have. And also just not the TV itself. On the backside, you got the barcode with the model number and serial number. Do that for all of your things too, your appliances, etc. That way it's on. Put it on Google Drive. If you have a Dropbox account, put it on Dropbox, or what's the Microsoft one? The
Outlook?
Microsoft has their own version of that type of thing too. But anyway, whatever it is, you got to store it electronically. That way it's there just in case the inevitable happens. And another good thing if you know of a third-party claims adjuster, they're doing free roof walks right now.
Yes.
So they can come out. They can walk your roof. They can take pictures of it to confirm the condition of it now, and give it like a certification of your roof is in good shape with no damage. That way, if a storm does come through and the insurance company tries to claim, oh, that's previous damage,
Right.
you have the third party that gave you a certified copy, date stamped of this is your roof condition, it's in good shape. You have a claim.
And it's very inexpensive. I mean, these guys will charge you $50 to get up there, take some shots. Some of them will do it with a drone.
Most of them I know do it for free.
Yeah.
Like
they do it for free because in the future they want you to call them to handle your claim, maybe. But I will tell you that is the biggest fight during a storm are the roofs. And the legislation that was passed last month and was signed and is now effective July 1st, 2022. It's going to affect how storms get paid down the road, not only from a depreciation standpoint, because they want to depreciate the roofs 50% over a certain year, 15 years, I believe it is. If it's a 20-year-old roof, it's going to continue to escalate downward on what they're going to pay. And they're talking about raising deductibles again. We're already at 2%, 5%, and 10%. What is the next deductible just going to say, we're going to go 50-50 on this? I mean, I don't know, but I'm really, really concerned. I'm really concerned. It is a concern. I do understand why they're doing it. There's a lot of characters out there doing things that they shouldn't be doing. But for the people that are honest and are paying for their policies, my policy here started out at $1,800 a year, and I'm paying close to $5,000. And I have an 1,800 square foot home. I mean,
I did a post on Facebook that some of you guys saw.
Right.
And from when I started in 2016 and all the way up. And I'm going to put this to anybody who's watching. Drop your insurance premium where you live for your homeowner's insurance, whatever that is. I've got to beat. Probably. And not because I want to. I have a new roof. It's 2016 metal roof. 2,000 square foot house. New AC, hurricane protection, the third nail for my roof. So we could maybe talk about that. And I got my insurance bill in, when was it? December. And almost like, it was like 10 grand.
Wow.
And I'm not on water. So we got it back down, but we had to shop around. We got it back down. So I'm about 6,500.
How close are you to like the ocean?
Not close enough to pay that.
Right. Yeah.
Because I live right on A1A, southbound Orlando Avenue.
Your house.
And not during a storm, because I won't be there. But when we bought the house 7 years ago, our insurance was about $2,200.
Yeah.
And it gradually kept going up and up and up. The renewal that we got from the current carrier in February with our latest renewal, it went from $3,400 to $8,300.
Yep. That's pretty much what happened to me.
So we fought it. We got the new wind mitt and 4-point inspection and had to shop around, and we're back to a reasonable level, which is $3,800 a year. But
it's So that watch that when you're getting financing for your homes, the bank is figuring in your principal and interest, your taxes and insurance for single family homes.
Right.
What's going to throw things off, especially for first-time home buyers, I think in particular, is the insurance piece. It's going to be way more than what they anticipate, even when we tell them. It's going to throw off their ratios.
it is.
And so that's where I think we're going to see a few issues with that, right across the board.
Let's continue the conversation on that in just a second. I want to thank Andrew for the comment. He's paying $3,700 in Merritt Island. And, looking at the map, Cocoa Beach, as you cross the Banana River, Merritt Island's there kind of sandwiched between the Banana River and the Indian River. So he's surrounded by water. He's paying $3,700. We've got Shirley. She's paying $560 for full
Shirley,
coverage. Where are you living at, Shirley? She's in
Virginia, I think. West Virginia.
Is she? Yes, she is. Thank you. Good memory, Shirley. She's in West Virginia. She's like, it's very expensive down here for insurance. That's kind of an understatement.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a tad. I mean, I have a cabin in North Carolina that we've had now since 2006, and I think I pay $2,000 a year, and it's a log cabin with a full basement built out. I have 600 square feet more than I have here,
Uh-huh.
and it's $2,000 a month, $2,000 a year. It's not bad at all. I mean, it's
No.
pretty affordable. I mean, compared to what I pay here, I pay more than double.
So when you start thinking about purchasing, one of the things you really need to do is talk to a good insurance agent who can give you some guidance. There are different types of policies out there and whatnot. And it's very important because even cash buyers still get insurance. You know, they still want to have their home insured. So that's a really important question when you are starting that process.
Now, some things to consider when you're getting your insurance. Most of the homes here in Brevard County, now we have a lot of new construction, but the average home sale, the age of it was built in 92, which is 30 years old. And if you have a house that's 30 years or older, you're going to need a 4-point inspection in order to get insurance. The insurance companies are going to want to see that for coverage. And the 4 points are the roof, the air conditioner, the plumbing, and the electric. And they're looking for signs of leaks on the roof and the age of the roof. For the plumbing, they're looking at the age of the hot water tanks and every shutoff valve that's underneath the sinks. If there's corrosion on those shutoff valves, that's something that's going to have to be replaced. What are some of the electrical issues? Federal Pacific boxes,
Federal
aluminum
Pacific,
wiring.
right? Aluminum wiring, Federal Pacific, Sylvania, and they've added 3 more panels now. So there's like 5 panels.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
I just found out like 2 days ago, and I'm like, you can't be serious, right?
Oh, good Lord. Really? You better send that over.
Yeah.
No. State Farm doesn't really do our homeowners, I think, anymore down here.
Well, they do in certain areas. Like I have like some of my policies, like the car is through State Farm, but they don't cover Cocoa Beach where I'm at. They'll try, like Kurt Myers is my State Farm guy, and he'll try to see if he can find me Citizens or maybe a third tier insurance company. But most of us have Citizens here on the beach if you have an older home like we do.
I'm with State Farm for my car insurance as well. Michele Green, yes. But no, the homeowners insurance is through. I don't even know who it's through right now. I got to look again.
We just had Southern Fidelity went insolvent last week or 2 weeks ago. And my phone's been ringing off the hook. And I say, call the agent. You're probably going to end up with Citizens. One of the issues that we're having in South Florida, and I don't know, Michele, if you guys have this issue, is down here, it's huge. It's a big, big problem. I've had a claim on it. I had a claim on it in 2008 is your cast iron plumbing because most of the homes were built prior to 1978. So that's a big issue. That is a major issue here.
And if you are buying a house here in Brevard County as well, if you're buying a house that's older, if it was built before 74, please get the plumber out there with the camera to scope the line so you can see whether it's cast iron or not. More than likely it is, because if they replaced it, they'd be all over the MLS details and advertising that it has PVC plumbing, because it's 15, 16 grand just to replace the pipes. And the insurance coverage usually limits what they'll do for water damage liability if you still have cast iron pipes.
Yeah, they limit it to $10,000, what's called the limited water endorsement on your policy. And some policies are excluding it altogether. So you got to be careful with that. And one thing I will say, Eric, and it's going to take me a second here, is polybutylene pipes is one thing that you got to keep your eye on. The repiping of polybutylene can be anywhere between $7,000 and $10,000 if they can go through the attic. Okay.
Right.
If they can't, hold on. Okay. So get ready for that. And the other thing that I wanted to talk to everybody about that you have to be careful with is what is this other one? There's another issue with the plumbing, and I'll let you guys talk and let me see if I think about. Oh, Eric, I remember what it is now. A lot of agents, at least from what I've seen, are trying to sell you a policy that should not be acceptable, right? You got to make sure you get an HO3 if it's your primary, and if it's a rental, you get a DP3. The problem with going with an HO1 or an HO8 modified is that not only do you not get all the coverages, but your coverages are so limited that when I get out there, I look at your policy and I'm like, we might as well be holding a blank policy jacket, because there's nothing in here of coverage. I can get you the roof, but I mean, some of them are drywall exclusion or water damage to your drywall exclusion, even during a hurricane. So I tell my clients all the time, get educated with your policy. When you get the policy, read it, and don't just read the declaration page. The declaration page says, okay, this is what you have for coverage. You've got to read the endorsements, because most of the time there's an endorsement or two missing, and that's usually the important one. So keep your eye on.
It'll cost you. You might get a deal, a quote unquote deal on the insurance now to get you in the house, but if you ever had to put a claim in, then you'll realize where the shortcomings are. It's better to find out now than afterwards.
That's right. And I tell them, I say, look, this is what you get, what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
You say $2,000 up front. Now you've got $25,000 in damages, and there's no cover.
Yep. And Andrew says he's using USAA for everything, and that's great. You're able to get USAA coverage here in Merritt Island. I know Barrier Island, sometimes it's tough. They're kind of like State Farm. They're selective on where they'll get. So keep that renewal going and make sure you keep that policy, because USAA does give good service to their customers.
There's two companies that are amazing when it comes to pay claims. And I've even told clients, make the claim, and if they treat you wrong, then I'll come in. But let them do what they need to do first. One of them is USAA, and the other one is Amica. Mm-hmm. They pay claims. I hand them my estimate. Hey, here's what we're claiming. Hector, is this all you guys want? Yeah, we're good. Sometimes they'll cut the check in the driveway.
Oh, that's amazing.
They have a van.
Old school there.
It's the way it used to be, and it's the way it should be, but I understand why some things have changed.
By the way, let's also throw out there about if you are living in condos, not just on the beach, right?
This is a good segue, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times you'll drive around South Florida, whether on the beach or not, and you'll see all the shutters. You can kind of tell when nobody's here. But, they have their own hurricane prep. And one of the big things is bringing furniture off those balconies. And so you need to plan ahead for that. Your maintenance people aren't necessarily your bring in the furniture people.
Nope.
Because liability. Years ago, it was a little friendlier, but not so much now. So have your own crew of people that can help you.
Yeah, I agree, Michele. A lot of realtors are taking care of these properties for absentee owners or part-time owners, where they're here, snowbirds. They're not here during hurricane season.
No.
There's got these really pretty plants out on there, and those are the first things to go during a storm. Hundreds and hundreds of pots,
Fortunately, a lot of the condos here I've seen in Brevard County, or at least along A1A, they have rules in place for you. If you are not living there full time, you can't leave furnishings on your balcony.
Good
so
point.
hopefully that'll be intact with other condominiums as well. And if you should check to see if your condominium has some type of disaster plan in place, because the board or the management company that's running the association should have some type of management in place. Really quick, Shirley, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Shirley.
I understand you got to run, but I appreciate you coming by and checking out the show, and for your comments and participation. That means a lot to us.
Yeah, Eric, one thing I like, and Michele, one thing I really like about, there's a couple of buildings in Ball Harbor right across from Saks Fifth Avenue. Their balconies have shutters.
Oh,
so they can close the entire balcony, and I think that's ingenious. I mean, I think it's a great idea.
And that's the same with your house too. If you have a lanai or some type of back patio, don't put it up against your slider. Do it out by the lanai, so that then you have a place to store more stuff to prevent the winds. Going back to the condominiums and the management companies or the association themselves, companies like the restoration companies like Paul Davis, they can work with the board and put together that plan just in case there is an emergency, whether a water heater pops like during the year and floods a few units, or if a storm comes through and does some type of damage. And if you work with them, and it's not I don't think it's a financial contract, but it's a commitment of them coming in and helping you with the plan. It'll put you on the list of prioritizing. If a storm does come through and there is damage, then you'll be up on the list as opposed to scrambling after the storm, trying to get a company like Paul Davis out there or one of the other restoration companies to help dry out and store and protect the property.
Yeah, that's a great point, Eric. And, there are so many restoration companies in Florida right now. And some of them I think are going to end up being fly by night. And Michele, you know what I'm talking about. Today they're ABC, tomorrow they're DEF. So pick someone reputable. Paul Davis is they're nationwide that I know of. I know they're in Canada as well.
Yep.
I would pick a Paul Davis. There's a Surf Pro is another one.
That's another good
Hero
one.
Clean. Pick a company that is reputable, that they're paying a franchise fee, and that they're going to do it right.
Yep. And the beauty of these larger franchises too, if they know a storm's coming, they prepare, like they'll talk to the surrounding states and they'll bring in their crews to help with the cleanup and the dry out if there's some type of devastating storm happening like that. Because the Paul Davis rep I knew down here, they had to go to New Jersey when Sandy went through, skimmed our coast, but really did the damage up there in New Jersey. So it's a very good point on that.
Well, that's a good point too, is that the state got really savvy after Andrew. Not only did the building codes change, and when I tell you they didn't just change, they freaking brought the hammer down and said
it was needed though.
Crap.
Yes.
And it was crap. And that's one of the issues that happened when Andrew hit in Homestead was shoddy construction. They brought the hammer down on that, but then they started bringing the hammer down on a lot of other areas. And one of the things also that happens is price gouging when we have storms, particularly after the storm, but it starts sometimes before. There's a price gouging hotline that the state has. They will not put up with that. The price gouging, and be very careful of people coming and knocking on your door after a storm to fix your roof or to do things. They are not licensed. And there's that whole time frame where you're trying to figure out the age of a roof from those storms. And I'm sure you guys have run into it too. And you're like, who did the roof? Well, I don't know. Some guy from North Carolina came in and just did my roof for me.
He was a trunk slammer.
Yeah. Eric, I'm glad you put that price gouging
Thank you for
number.
doing that.
Yeah, I was going to tell you to do that. It is a big issue. It is a major issue. And a lot of them are going to promise you things that they can't deliver on. But once they cash that check, they're out of here.
Don't give them money, and they prey on the seniors in particular.
The seniors and our vulnerability after a storm where you feel helpless.
Yeah.
I've
been through a good neighbor.
Be a neighbor or call your kids and get their advice and input on it before you write that check, because they'll certainly be able to help you out, steer you in the right direction.
That's a great point. And I when I worked in I worked Sandy in New York, but when I worked in Punta Gorda, there was a lady that was kind of reluctant, and I said, listen, here's my contract, send it to your kids. If you want to do something, I'm here, and if not, that's fine. That's the way it should be done, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've done it like that for 21 years. It's been great. I love real estate. I mean, that's my honey hole. I really love, and that's what brought us three together, and a great company like Real Broker. I'm so happy to be a part of this team.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool collaboration we got going with not just us, but everybody in the company. It's been a really good experience with the move. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate right now. It's just been a really exceptional opportunity, and the fact that we're collaborating like this, I love it. Cool. And hopefully it helps anyone watching today, because you can reach out to any of us about some of these things that we're talking about week after week. We want to be educational, a little entertaining. Right? Like, so it's important. I mean, but we take hurricane season very seriously here. Yeah, and it's no joke, and it's long. It's 6 months long, people. It's
longer.
And when it's just starting to heat up. I mean, it goes June 1st through the end of November.
End of November. You're right, Michele. That's right. That's right. 6 months.
So and it doesn't really kick in until September. Like August, September is like the two big months where we get a lot of the storms because everything's heating up in the tropics. Water's getting warmer.
The water's getting warmer. And by the way, if you are a boater, that's a whole other conversation.
Oh,
because you have to secure your boat.
Oh my God. I'll never forget. I go, my cousin lives right off of Eureka. And we're driving into Saga Bay. First of all, there's debris everywhere down there, right?
Yeah.
As far as the eye can see, there's debris. I never thought I'd see an 85-foot yacht in the middle of the street.
I know.
And there it was. I mean, I was
Gary,
like,
they go, that's a projectile.
A mile and a half
is.
Inland. A mile and a half inland.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember that.
You got to be kidding me. You know, like.
Yeah, I remember that, seeing those pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to really date myself, but thank you, Ann Bishop.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know.
Here, yeah.
WLG Channel 10 Miami, Ann Bishop and the storm team.
Now here in Cocoa Beach, we've been fortunate in Cocoa Beach. We've had some damage with some of the storms coming through, but back in, I don't know if this was in 06, somewhere back in that time, but the storm came through, did a lot of damage throughout. And in South Cocoa Beach, we have a big church on A Street that is definitely a landmark. But look at this photo here. That's the steeple.
The steeple is in the roof, right?
So the steeple broke off. It's supposed to be here, and the steeple broke off. And if that isn't a sign of Armageddon or something's coming, is when a church gets damaged like that.
Yeah.
So
not even God can save you, right?
No.
Yeah. So we take it very seriously. We're, we joke around a little bit, but we do take it serious, and we want you to understand. One, you can prepare. Florida is a great place to be. South Florida, Cocoa Beach, where we live, is fantastic. And we have a lot of good infrastructure and resources here. Get to know your local governments because they are fantastic during a crisis.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they really are.
They are. Great point. I think, the way that you're going to succeed or make it out of a hurricane or a storm or anything is get prepared ahead of time. Don't wait until the day of the storm to say, let's go fill the gas tank, or let's run to Walmart and get batteries. The dollar store is another place. You were talking earlier, and I'm going to digress a little. They have batteries for super cheap. Go, and nobody thinks about going there because everybody's thinking big box.
And I go to the smaller box because there's no lines.
There's no lines, and nobody's even thinking about going, like you said, to the Quickie Mart or to the dollar store, Dollar General, whatever. But preparation is the key to success of getting through the storm. Yep. Right? Yeah. If you prepare, great.
So keep cash on hand, fill your gas tank. Get your canned goods, not so much the perishables. Fill your propane tanks for your grills, because if the electric's out and you have electric stove, you need to cook.
Yep.
And there's one more thing I was going to throw in there.
Can I throw one more thing in?
Yeah.
When there is a named storm and the progress of the named storm, they have a little something out there in the water called the box.
Yes.
The insurance box. And so that's why if you have an agent that says, have you secured your insurance? They're not trying to be a pain in the neck. No. They're giving you a heads up, because if there's a storm out there and it floats its little away into the box, they're not binding your insurance.
Once it crosses that line, that's it.
You're done.
3 boxes, everything is, there's a quadrant. If you look at, there's a bunch of squares, and they'll show you that. You can actually pull it up online. If it's within 3 squares of the coast, forget about inland, 3 squares off the coast of Florida, they are not allowed to bind policies. And it's usually 72 hours before the storm makes landfall.
Exactly. Now, that also goes for boats.
Yes.
Ask me how I know that.
I don't know. There's a guy with a white boat.
Because I was getting my nails done at the nail depot when we first got our boat in 2018. 19, and I was flying up to Ohio the next day, and Dorian, the storm that devastated the Bahamas, was out there, and I literally was on the phone with Geico for almost an hour and a half. Like, I'm trying to get my nails done to secure insurance for our boat. So it's not just with houses. It's like, you don't want to not have insurance on your vehicles and boats and things like that either.
Especially during a storm, most definitely.
No.
Right. And if you have the standby generators, Eric, that's one thing I wanted to add is make sure you have at least 20 gallons on standby if you can. At minimum 10 gallons of gas if you are fueling it with gas. Not only your cars, you're going to have to continue to add fuel to that generator to keep it going.
Yep, because you want to. If you have the refrigerator running, that's great. If you if you don't have a big enough generator to run central air, you have hopefully a window unit to at least keep one room cold in the house, so everybody can get in there and stay comfortable. Would be fantastic. And then also, we're all realtors. So if I know myself, I have a nice Rolodex of contacts for people to get stuff done, whether it's a roofer to patch a roof or a glass company to put plywood up to cover a broken window or something along those lines. We help you with the sale, but we also have the resources to help you if there's something going on in the community for us to help you out with. So keep our names in mind. If you're in the Cocoa Beach area in Miami or Boca Raton, or if you're in another part of the state, keep your realtor in mind because they have resources that they can help you with.
Absolutely. Sure. And I just put up my website because every year we update our annual hurricane guide. NOAA, the National Hurricane Center, they're on top of this stuff and they feed all this information out. And then the other resource is my friend Greg Weiss has a fantastic group. It's one of the largest groups on Facebook, the Official Hurricane News and Information Center. You can join that. And Greg and his crew are always posting stuff. And then I think you have Mike's weather page, right?
I do. Hold on a second. Let me get him up.
Yep.
But Mike's weather page is awesome. I follow him on Instagram. He does, his main page is, did I get it? Hold on. I'm learning this. I'll get the hang of it one of these weeks.
You're doing great,
so this is Mike's page. It's kind of busy if you look at the actual page itself.
Wow.
He's got a lot of stuff going on in regards to weather patterns across the country. And this guy's an amateur, even though it's his hobby. And I think it's probably his livelihood now because he has sponsors and other things, which I think is kind of cool. But I personally prefer going to his Instagram or his Facebook group. His Facebook page. Let's see. No, I got his Instagram here. So his Instagram, there's Mike right there. And he's always posting good content. And if there's something happening in the tropics, definitely look for Mike's weather page, either on Facebook, on Instagram, or his website itself is spaghettymodels.com. I'll drop that in the comments. So let's see. Copy, stop sharing. We'll put that there.
By the way, there's a lot of funny memes that happen during a hurricane, not so much season, but when there's a hurricane out there. And we love our weather people, but there's always a lot of funny memes with spaghetti all over it.
Yeah,
it is true.
Eric, we didn't mention, and I thought about it. I'm like, what is one thing that happened to me during the last storm that I was like, what am I going to do now? Portable batteries, chargers for your phone.
Oh God, yes.
I was like, what was it? There was one thing I wanted to bring up today, and I forgot to write it down because I was driving home from a showing. And I'm like, the portable batteries, we have 6 laying around. Yes.
I keep them with me all the time. So this one, this one's a smaller one. So it'll charge a couple phones up pretty quick.
Yep.
And we got a couple bigger, Mophie ones at the house that are really good.
Mine. I got them in a big plastic bag.
Yep.
Because I take them out in the boat and stuff like that. I'm always a good portable battery friend because I get the ones now that have room for at least 2.
Good.
Yeah, this one only has 1. The Mophies I have at home have 2.
Yeah.
And Susan's looking into a battery generator called Jackaroo that has a solar panel on it too. So we might be upgrading for that one this hurricane season to add it to the arsenal.
Well, if anybody has any questions, again, feel free to ask us. I think we went through almost everything.
I think we knocked it out of the park.
Maybe.
I might be biased, but I think this was a pretty good conversation.
If you have to evacuate, where are you going to evacuate to?
Boom. That is a great one. All right. So where do y'all evacuate? Because you're in a different part of the state than I am. So you have a different perspective on things.
Depends on what direction the storm's going.
I'm a rebel.
People were driving all over the place in Florida. Like I had friends on Facebook, they were going to Orlando, then they went to Tampa, and then because the storms kept moving.
Yep. So here in Brevard County, so we got the causeways that connect the barrier islands to the mainland. All you have to do is really get here on the other side of US 1. So if you can find a hotel in this area, that's great. You don't have to go far. Like I know folks that, they try to get to Orlando and 528 is just bumper to bumper, or they try to race out of town to get somewhere up in Georgia to get away from it. And once you get on these interstates, the traffic is just so tough. I know if you're evacuating to Orlando from the Cocoa Beach area, sure, 528 and 520 are easy. But if you head south or cut over on, I think this is 60 that cuts over to 192, this might be an easier route for you to get to. But just realize that sometimes back roads are your friends. You don't necessarily always have to drive the big interstates to get around, because you and hundreds of thousands of other people are also doing the same.
Because doesn't 60 go to Tampa too?
What's that?
Doesn't 60 go all the way to Tampa?
I'm pretty certain it does. It cuts across the state.
Lehigh Junction.
Yeah.
Grand Junction, yeah.
Cool.
I'm not going anywhere, Eric. I'm staying
Yeah,
right
me neither.
Yeah, my in-laws live in Port St. John on the mainland, so we once we secure the house, we go over to my mother-in-law's house and we hunker down there.
Nice.
Cool. Well, this has been an awesome conversation. We've kind of maxed out and peaked over the hour. I want to thank the two of you for everything that you brought aboard here today, and everybody that's tuned in either live or on the replay. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. Likes and comments are always appreciated. Share this with somebody that you think might need the information. If not now, when a storm's coming, this could be good for them to help prepare if they've never dealt with the hurricane season before. And then my name's Eric Larkin. I'm with Real Brokers, and we have
Michele
Bellisari, also with Real Broker. Hashtag Boca Lifestyle and Real Estate.
Hashtag.
And I am Hector Chinea with Real Broker, South Florida, Miami, Upper Keys. Hashtag living the MIA sunshine. Thank you.
Awesome. Look at that.
Sunshine.
Everybody have a good night, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Peace out.
Peace.
Hector leaves every